This is a browser automation I created that extracts data from Amazon ASINs provided in a Google Sheet. So as you can see, I have the ASINs here, a list of ASINs, and then it extracts the data from the ASINs onto another sheet. And it actually does that by opening up the Amazon ASINs in the browser, inside the browser, and extracting that data, which makes this process a totally free process. And what I'm going to do is show you how to actually add this automation into Automa, which is a free platform. By the way, this is a totally free platform. And so once you install this, I have a link for you to install it. And once you install it to your Google Chrome browser, you then use Browse Workflows. And once you click Browse Workflows, that will bring you to the Automa marketplace. It's called a marketplace, but everything here is free. All right, and at this point, you have to know the name of this particular automation. So Amazon ASIN. If you type those two words, that might even be enough. You'll see Amazon ASIN Data Scraper. Click it. You'll see the page of this Amazon ASIN Data Scraper. You'll see that I have, you have a preview, first of all, of the workflow, and then I have a description here, link to a video and some other information. You can go ahead and just click Add to Extension. I already did it before, so you just click it, and that will add the workflow to your installation of Automa. Now, going back to the dashboard on Automa, you will now go to Amazon ASIN Data Scraper. Go ahead and open the installation, the workflow. And now, basically, at this point, what we want to do is talk about the Google Sheet part of this. So this workflow reads a Google Sheet. It actually opens the Google Sheet in the tab, reads the ASINs, and then pulls data from the ASINs as it goes through, loops through the ASINs, pulls the product data, which you can see on these blocks here, and then it outputs it back, which is what we see over here, onto the Google Sheet. And it just loops back around and keeps doing that. And eventually, when it's done, it also exports a CSV as well of the data. Or if it runs into an error, it does that as well. So when it stops, it should export a CSV as well. So now for the Google Sheet part, here's not that one. Here's the Google Sheet that I'm using for this demo. And first of all, you have to make sure that you share the Google Sheet, as anyone with the link, anyone on the internet with the link can edit, and select editor. Because Automa is the one that is actually accessing it, the actual program Automa, that app. And you don't have to worry about this, because as long as you don't give anyone the link, there's no way they can possibly have your link and open the spreadsheet, right? So you're copying it just for Automa, right? You're sharing it just for Automa. Now, when you, let's see. Well, let me finish talking about this. So this is the input sheet with the ASINs, and then this is the products data over here, right? As you can see, currently this is what it extracts. This is the data, right? And of course, this automation can be expanded to do more. So now, it's a matter of running the automation. Now you can go ahead and press execute up here, run it, and start running it. Input your spreadsheet URL, input your spreadsheet ID, and then you select whatever needs to be selected and run it. But the thing is that a lot of times I know people are going to use the same spreadsheet over and over again, a lot of times, in the same output sheet at different times. So what you can do now that you have the actual automation here is you can open the trigger block, double click on that, and once you open a block, you can go into the parameters of this particular block. And what you do is you set your spreadsheet URL as the default. So you take this whole URL, you can double click and make sure you get the whole thing all the way from HTTPS and on, that whole URL, and put it as the spreadsheet URL. You just paste it as the spreadsheet URL. So what happens is when you execute this, it will automatically include the spreadsheet URL. And then we have the input column letter. So as you can see, it's defaulted already because I did it, defaulted it based on a template I made and based on what I expect people to normally do. But you can always change the defaults. So input column letter is A and the start row is 2. So that means that it's going to start, well, first of all, it's going to read all the ASINs from column A, starting on row 2, not row 1. Row 1 is not an ASIN, it's a heading, right? So it will start here. Now, one thing about this way, the way that I implemented this workflow, this automation, is I implemented it to where these ASINs must be text, just as you see here. So in other words, this ASIN cannot, they cannot be formulas in these cells. Okay, the actual ASIN has to be in the cell, not formulas. All right, because when the automation reads, it's actually going into the cell and reading it from up here, as opposed to using the Google Sheets API. And I did that so it doesn't have to keep reading the API and also writing it. Okay, because they have some limits, and I was trying to keep the automation running fast enough. Now, okay, so let's just get to actually making this thing run. Right, so we set up the spreadsheet URL. The other thing is the output spreadsheet ID. So you have to decide now what sheet, first of all, are you going to, because the thing is you might want to do the output in a completely separate Google Sheet out here, or you might want to do it right here in the same file, right? So you have to know what you're going to do. I'm actually going to delete this completely. So the spreadsheet output spreadsheet ID. Spreadsheet ID is different from sheet ID, and I know the names are very close. So this is the spreadsheet ID. So what you're going to do is copy this. This is actually the same for the whole document. Okay, so you just go in between here and copy this between d/ and /edit. That is your output spreadsheet ID. And then you have the output sheet name, which I've defaulted to product data. This is the sheet, the name of the sheet where it's going to actually output the data. You have to provide the actual name, so it's products data, so it knows where to output the data. Now it says product, this is literal. So right now it says product data, and I see I have products. Okay, it's no good. Product data is what it should say, right? Here's the override option. You can open this to see if I have a description of it. Turn off to append data to the end of the sheet. If you have pre-existing data, but usually you're just going to want to write over it. So just overwrite it. And then the number of products on the output interval. So what happens is that it doesn't just constantly keep writing the output data right away. Rather, what it will do with an output interval, it will read, say, 5 of these ASINs, and then it will output the data. Another 5, output the data. Another 5, output the data for those, okay? And this just saves it from having to output data too often using Google Sheets API. Right, so it doesn't use the API right more often than it needs to, okay? So that's it. All right, default is 5, and so everything's pretty much ready. Everything's ready to go, and you just click save. You have those defaults saved. So now when you execute it, you don't have to keep copying and pasting this stuff in here over and over if you're using the same sheet. Now I'm going to go ahead and run it, and once you run it, once I run it, you'll see. Yeah, once you run it, actually, you'll see the Google Sheet actually open in the tab, okay? Because it has to read the ASINs from it. And you might have noticed that my Google Sheet's closed over here. So what happens is that if it doesn't close tabs, the automation, you'll just keep having tabs open up and open up, on and on, for as many ASINs as there are. So it automatically closes Google Sheets tabs when it begins to run, so that after each ASIN that it reads, it closes the Google Sheets tab, so it doesn't have too many of them open. If you click in here, you can see where it is right now. It's on A3, right? And it's reading that. And then afterwards, you see that it'll open the product like it just did over here. right? It'll then open the Amazon ASIN that was in that row. See, that was A3, right? And this is how it works. So now, of course, I'll have to wait until it does at least 5 products in order to see a result. And what I can even do, as a matter of fact, yeah, I'm just going to let it run because it's just going to keep closing the Google Sheet if I open it in the middle of the automation. So I'm going to just let it run. I just want to see where it is up to. It's up to A4. Okay. So remember the output interval is 5. Maybe I should have changed it to 1 just for this video. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is what I'll have to wait for. A little longer than I would prefer for a demo video, but you can just have a look here. Okay, so I'll just let that run a little and I'll come back. You can see logs. The logs button will actually show you what's happening right now. So you can see that it's running and it's getting text. It's using the get text block. Something else I might do is actually show you or explain how some of this stuff actually works. To kind of give you a bit of a little head start if you want to start creating your own automations or even edit this automation. And again, let me see what it's up to. A5. So what did I say? 2 through 6, right? So you still have to wait for one more. And yeah, so you can always, you can stop it here, by the way. It's important to know that you can go to logs, click stop if you want to stop the automation here. So that's another thing that you can do. You can also go in and see why there was an error, if there is an error. These are the different things that you can do. All right, so let's see, we're on 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to make sure it gets those 5. All right, and I've got, well, this would be the 5th one, apparently. 1, 2, 3, 4. One open in here. It's apparently not closing the, I didn't have it close the Amazon tabs, apparently. You could modify it to do that, or I could modify it as well. But I just want to get the one more product so that I have the product data. Okay. So at this point, it should have outputted some product data. I'll see if I can take a quick look. And we do have product data. So what I'm going to do now is stop the automation. Sorry that we had to run it for that long. And you'll just see the product data. Actually, let me get the spreadsheet URL. Spreadsheet URL. Where is it? Parameters, yeah. Parameters, and let me double click and just take my spreadsheet URL over here so I can quickly open it and have a look at what it did. And you'll see here product data. And so you can see the first 5 ASINs. All right, and the prices, the titles, right? It was those bedding fitted sheets, right? And then remember the trays and the tray baskets. And here's all the data, features, description. So something I might also do is provide perhaps some Excel functions, Google Sheets functions that can kind of clean up this data. Maybe extract the different pieces that you might need from here, like color, brand, those different, specifics, as they call them on eBay, item specifics. And that's basically it. So that's how the automation works. This is what it does. Again, it can be expanded to do more, to extract more data like images or whatever in the future. If you have the knowledge, if you understand regular expressions and things like that, XPath queries, you can actually edit this to get more out of it. And that's about it. Check the link in the description of this video, the links, I should say, in the description of this video for any more information. Mr. Mark, and I look forward to seeing you around.